And now obviously we can go into our building menu, but before I do that, I'm going to put in the wooden beds instead of the straw bed, as I said earlier. Now I'm going to place an extra bed in here, and that's only because I'm assuming that one of these families will start to have kids shortly, and that does happen in the game, so you may want to have an extra bed in each household just in case that happens. And then we'll go through and add all these other items here. The next just a little bit. Alright, go ahead down here. Making a little more backslide this side. Alright, so now we can assign this house to the other family that doesn't have it yet, which is the farmers. And same thing, I'm just going to click accept for now so that we can get started. And we'll go back to zones and we'll make our farmland, which is located here. Alright, so I did 3 pretty large plots of farmland. Eventually we'll put fences around these so that animals don't come in and eat them. You'll notice that's going to be a problem right away. All the animals will come and start feeding on the crops that we start. So a little annoying, but we will get that figured out. So when we click on the zone, we're going to have the ability to come in and essentially click on farming soil. So I'm going to fill these up here. And the reason that I'm leaving some space is there's some other items that we might want to put in here, right? So, for example, we will need a flailing spot in our wheat and oat field so that we can get straw, for example. So we're going to do that, and you can see what the different production items are available here. So if you want just purely food, rice is probably the best option because it gives you 5 per. And then a good, I guess, alternative is if you want straw and you want to have that resource, wheat or barley might be the next best thing. Or oat is obviously the quickest way to get 2 of each. But let's go ahead and place a flailing spot here. So I'm going to do a couple of them, and I'm probably going to put my wheat field right out in front here. And then we're going to do a couple of silos in here as well. And I think that's going to be good for now for the wheat field that we're going to be putting here. Now, other things that you can look at is if you want some of the stuff you can place in here. I don't use storefronts, so essentially the storefronts are used for villagers to place their items in here, and then other villagers will come to their house and buy items from their storefront. I'm going to make a marketplace, and essentially what that does is all families will have a marketplace area where they can sell their goods centralized in the town, so that, you know, for example, if someone lives way out on the right side, they don't have to walk all the way over here to buy something. I'll place it right in the middle here so that the walking distance isn't that big of a deal. So, like I said before, the silos keep grains, corn, rice, and hops, and barrels do fruits and vegetables. So one of these fields I'm going to use for fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to place barrels in those fields that I think I'll use that for. And then I'll probably place a couple more silos in here as well. So that's a pretty good start. Let's go ahead and click on one of these and go to assign family, because we're going to have to assign these to the farmers that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and go fee farm again, because I don't want any items in my warehouse because I currently don't have one. So let's go through and assign fee farm, assign fee farm, and assign. Now we can decide what they're going to plant in these areas. So as before, like I said, this is going to be kind of our wheat field because of what we have in there right now. So let's go ahead and make sure there's no animal selected. These won't matter because that's not what they're going to be farming. What you want to do is go to your soils tab and make sure everything out here is listed as you want it to be planted. So I have wheat and barley, and if you remember before, if you do hover over flailing spot, barley and wheat are the same thing essentially. They both give us 1 straw and 3 grain. So I don't mind if both of these, wheat and barley, are selected. They're in different seasons, so it'll work out that one will be planted when the other one isn't. So that's not going to bother me. So that's already selected. I would suggest going to trees and just zeroing out the trees option. Apple is always selected by default for some reason. And I don't want them to plant a tree, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that option. Over on this one here, we can go to adjust priorities again. I'm going to take out the tree, accept that, go to soil, and on this one, I'm not going to do wheat or barley. I'm going to choose another option for food production. So in this case, I'm just going to go with potato, and we will do that there. And over on this side, same thing, no trees, soil, and we can choose what we want to plant here as well. So if you're going to be doing a lot of grain farming and making bread and stuff like that, rice would be a really good option because you get 3 or 4 per rice option. So in this case, I am going to not choose that. I'm going to probably choose carrots for now and go with that just so that we have a couple of things planted for food. So we can go ahead and resume the game and take a look as they kind of get started with their building and production. Now don't forget, before we let it get too far in, we need to grant these families some food. So I'm going to give 100 food to the farmers, and I'm going to give 100 food to the foragers. That way they have a good start on life and they're not going to be, starving to death. So when you start the game, your central area here is technically your warehouse. So anytime you grant or seize anything, it's going to be taken from here or put in here. I don't like this. This is where I like to make my marketplace. So you're going to see me edit some of this here to account for the changes that I'm going to make for that. So firstly, I'm going to go to zones and make a household. This is going to be for my main family who owns all of the land, but we're going to make a area for them to live in, essentially. So let's find a good spot for that. Oh, you know what? I actually chose the wrong zone for this, so I apologize. We're going to erase this zone here. The reason being is I forgot that the manor is actually a different zone type. You have to choose manor for these guys, and it automatically assigns it to our family. Alright, so in here we can go ahead, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to go ahead and put these items in the house here. Alright, so once that's done, that should be a good start. Obviously, we don't have any stone masons yet, so they're not going to be able to build the walls or anything, but in my opinion, that's not too important to begin with. As we can see, our foragers have made their sawhorses, and they're going to start making planks. One thing with this is their priorities are a little off, in my opinion. 6 priority on plank and 1 on wood is a little low. So I'm going to go ahead and go 5 and 3 for now, because we're going to need a lot of wood to get started. And obviously this family doesn't have any beds yet, so they're not going to get very far. So one thing that we can do to assist them with that is we can go in and grant our farmers with some wood to hopefully help them get started creating some of the items that they need. So I'm going to give them 50 wood and 20 planks, and hopefully they'll be able to build at least their beds. And we forgot to assign the ability for this area to have pigs, so let's go to animals, and we will give them access to, let's say, 5 pigs. Alright guys, so this is our first pop-up. This is a family that would like to settle in our village. Now these guys are foragers, which we already have a family of 2 over here, and they are bringing with them 4 people. So I don't really need 6 foragers right now, so I'm going to go ahead and decline this. And hope that maybe next time we get something a little bit more useful for our village. Alright, so now that we have most of our storage bays created over here, I'm going to go ahead and delete this zone. And I guess there's been an update where you actually do need a warehouse, so that's new to me. Okay, well, let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and maybe assign this area to be a warehouse. Oh, butchering. We will accept them because we'll need those guys. But let's go ahead and reassign this area that we have for storage as a warehouse, so that we're not running into issues here. Okay, that should be good. Like I said, we're not going to need a lot of this because we're not going to take a lot of products from our villagers, so I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so we need to make a place for our butcher to live. So let's go ahead and I'm going to start by making a house. So the reason I'm doing this is I don't want to make a separate house for the butcher, or a separate area for the butcher, so I'm going to go ahead and just place this in here. And that's going to allow me to do all of this without making a whole different area, I guess. And I'm going to go to my warehouse and I am going to grant them, once again, 100 meals once we get this pulled out from here. I think we actually need to salvage all this. And then in my zones tab, as you can see, I have a public area here. I'm going to leave this available for the public area. And we will put a couple of benches in here as well. Alright, and then on the other zones, I'm going to make a marketplace. So I'm going to kind of go around the circle here, as you'll see. And that's going to be the area that my villagers can sell to each other here. Tanning, I'm going to wait on tanning. That's more of just a convenience thing at this point. Alright, and now that we have this zone, I'm going to go in and place storefronts, and these are going to be for the villagers so that they can sell goods to other people. So now you see one member of the household of each family is going to come up here and work in the storefront, and then the other villagers can go through and buy products from them. So these guys are selling nothing. These guys were selling something. I'm guessing farming equipment or farming resources, rather. Just to give you an overview of what happens when the king does want something, you go down to the reports here, and it'll tell you, you need 50 meat, 40 wood, whatever. And by the end of the next season, you have to have that available in your warehouse when the tax collectors come. So if you do need any of those resources, you can come in here and hit seize. And let's say we need 20 wood in our warehouse. You can come to the wood, the lumberjacks, for example, and seize however many items that you need. Now, normally they're not going to be too upset if you don't do it that often, so you can get all your resources that way. Now, in future updates, maybe they'll make it so it's a little bit worse when you try to do that, but for now, you can do that without really any backlash. So today is the first day for tax payment, so anything that the villagers need to pay us, they will bring to our warehouse here. Now, if you remember before, we were only charging them a little bit to work and live, so we're not going to get that much, just some silver. They'll bring it to our warehouse chest right here. And as you can see, we have about 10 silver and 40 copper. Alright, so it's tax season now, and the king is going to tell us what we need to give the next time around. So we need 252 straw, some wood, planks, rod, and potatoes. So as you can see, this is why we, I guess, make resources and seize them, or get taxed resources, is for this reason. Down here you can see we can use points that we receive to kind of decide which type of citizens that we want. So I probably won't go all the way to the next season, but as you can see, we already have some stuff being built here. I have a fishing couple that just came in, and then I have millers as well for the grain that we'll be producing from our farmer. Alright guys, so hopefully that's a good intro to Lords and Villeins. If you'd like to see more gameplay, or you see any other games that you want me to do a review or tutorial on, go ahead and leave a comment down. If you would like to pick up this game for a discount, just use the link for my affiliate link for Green Man Gaming in the description, and you will get 15% off, as well as supporting the channel. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and if you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe to see more notifications when I upload a new video. And once again, if you have suggestions, go ahead and place it in the comments. Thanks.